Hi, come on in if you'd like to have a seat for some symbolic support. I excuse any sort of lapse in time in readings as I've been working away on the artistry, and today we have a scroll that will inspire our scrying session and see what messages stand out for ourselves, souls, and spirits, and we'll allow the spirit box to come through as well to support. So here's the scroll that will be igniting our session. Boop, boop. And if at some point in time I'll remember to put the link below in the description if you want to purchase this one of one tiny tapestry that speaks. All right, I'm going to take a moment here to cleanse the eyes, the palette of sight, activating the abstract mind and ancient awareness to receive and receive symbolic support. Thank you for holding space for me to share my insights, and let's dig in here. May you meet a message with meaning. Okay, I'm going to turn the spirit box on. Let's see, go ahead. We'll allow that to add to our atmosphere. Okay, I'm seeing a queen bee, and this queen bee has hand puppets. They're like cartoon characters. They're male. So it's like the queen bee is looking, could be the energy that you're working with today, or the week, the month, maybe. Like really harnessing like that Queen of Cups kind of feel, and I know where I'm going. But these hand puppets make me feel like I know how to talk to my psyche, or to get myself motivated or realign to a particular goal I may have. And these cartoon hand puppets could also be spirits stepping forward that talk to the queen bee, almost like security, like they check in and be like, hey, this is going on in the surroundings, this is what I recommend. But they're playful, like that's how they need to be received in not like conscience, but worker bees, but I'm not seeing them actually as bees. They just look like cartoon characters. It's quite adorable. But if you're resonating with that queen bee kind of feel, male or female, behind me, all right, something could be working, moving forward. Okay, I'm also seeing a big chicken ice skating. You know that chicken from Family Guy? And every so often, I think it's Family Guy, and every so often they come into this this big brawl with this big chicken. And I'm seeing this there. If I can share it, there it is. Okay. So the queen bee, and here's the security guard, and this ice rink with this big chicken. And it's almost as if, like I said, that security guard is keeping an eye out perhaps for what is behind you, to avoid or not get stuck into a cycle of doom and gloom. If it's like, it's just out here in your aura and you're feeling it, it's like, oh, maybe this is the collective energy of the planet, or perhaps this is something going on in your personal life, career, this, that, or the other. And this cartoon
I am in pain.
Security guard, I'm going to come with you in 2 seconds, hun. If you're stuck in that, it's like whispering things of how to help. Okay? If you want to step forward and tell us more about why you're in pain, that would be welcomed at this point in time. As maybe as a listener, you can resonate with that. If there's any sort of cyclical depression, seasonal depression, anything along that lines that's coming through, and you felt like it was behind you and now it's back again. The queen bee steps forward again and says, notice in the surroundings, and then take in, recalibrate to the bigger goal. Like, don't get stuck in the small one, like zoom out, for lack of a better word. There's something being protected under like the skirt of this queen bee. I'm also seeing a particular kind of pant, a pagan pant. You might have, I don't know if that's loud enough, natural roots, like very boho feeling, or you want to live more organically, and perhaps this is the cycle, like I'm not living the way I truly feel. but something's working away. Something's being unzipped. These are pants, actually. The zipper's being undone. There are two very large, I don't know, there we go, very large guardians stepping forward, and they're feeding what I believe is the inner child or the imagination, the ability to maybe even look outside this ice rink where that big chicken is, and they're feeding it. And perhaps that's what you're doing, like little by little. I want to note that there's a rabbit hole that's calling me to consider it's being breadcrumbed. Maybe you're breadcrumbing your inner child, or you can just simply relate to that. Maybe when you were a child, you felt, kind of breadcrumb, like just enough to get by.
Lauren.
And Lauren, that name came through when I tried to do a reading the other day. Should Lauren mean anything to you? As a spirit or as oneself? I'm going to keep going here, and I'm trying not to rush, but I feel like there's a lot going on. This inner child is on like a podium of sorts. Some sort of sacrifice may have been made.
Sit down.
Discipline. Maybe some sort of discipline by a dominant figure. What is going on here? It's like they're on, excuse me, get my scribble out.
Daughter.
Okay, it feels father-daughter-ish. So the big figures here, there we go, and then the smaller daughter in there. Again, it's just the energy of it. I feel like there's some sort of sacrifice. Maybe you can resonate in understanding the story that somebody lost a daughter, or a part of you from when you were a child. They're on some sort of, I think it's a vice. I think this guardian is on a vice, and it's interesting how it goes two ways. It's almost like in the physical, tangible world, it's a father figure.
Battle.
And then when I go to the other rabbit hole, there's guardians, and one's breadcrumbing and one's feeding and nourishing it from spirit. Say, okay, so there's also a little bird or dinosaur. So as this guardian is feeding
Pat.
the inner child or your child within, there's this other being that's like just sitting under, that's capturing all the what's not made, like even more crumbs. You know what I'm saying? Like there's something else catching it. Not leftovers, but in the transition for it. I don't know if I said that well.
Roy.
The name Roy came through. I'm not sure if it's loud enough, but I'm not going to fuss with it at this moment. Like whatever doesn't make it, when you're handing stuff off, and there could be stuff that's spilt as I'm handing it off, and then there's a creature that is capturing all that. It looks like a baby dinosaur or possibly a bird, but it kind of feels even more hungry. So you might have a sibling, and yeah, there's like possibly two children, so there might be another sibling. Oh,
Leo.
Thank you. Okay, so that's helpful. And the way it's clearing it out is when I see it and we're in the tangible realm, the inner child is the one just trying to catch the crumbs, while the guardian of spirit is nourishing fully. You know what I'm saying? So it is coexisting at the same time. There could be that conflict, that how do you say, the circular rink of ice, some sort of emotional coldness, and there's that fighting chicken. Could feel even conflictual because it coexisted. Like I was nourished from spirit, but breadcrumbed by perhaps a parent. But something's being unzipped. Again, Queen Bee is I don't want to say like overlord, but it's the word that's coming through, this overlord. Okay, I'm going to move down a little bit. My left ear is bothering me. There's somebody reaching a hand out. Towards a cloud. I just heard spirit in a closet.
Fight. Desk.
They're reaching out for this cloud. I don't know what this cloud is. It's almost like coming from underneath, hiding, if I may, hiding. And it's like, oh, is it time? Like there's something else trying to get at me. I feel like if you're resonating with this story, you might be a very sensitive soul and contending with physical interactions as well as spiritual. Like things are trying to get your attention in the spirit realm, gifted. But because of, I don't know if it's like the static or the fight in the physical realm, the battle, it makes it tough to almost like trust the spirits. Okay, I'm moving down here a little bit more. Where am I right now? Where am I? Okay, I'm in a portal. Give me one moment if you're still with me. Take the moment to like, share, subscribe, take a deep breath, relax. Let the linear fall away as we're working in the liminal space. And I'm grateful you're here. Thank you.
Diseased.
Okay, so I'm in a portal. It feels like another circle, and I'm seeing talking happening where, like, I can see it, the visual expression of voice, like an EVP or something like that. Maybe this is a pocket.
I am in pain.
Pocket
Teresa.
in the mind. Okay, so this is coming back. Interesting that it talks about this in pain as we're in both circles. Is this perspective pain? And I'm seeing somebody hiding off in like a corner. Might have had a poltergeist or have the ability in this energies. And because one feels in pain, it attracts other similar energies to come through. And then the ones that try and come up to help heal, it's a little mistrustful because otherwise there's so much pain. I'm going to add on the light after the darkness, synergy and healing, and blind spots, skull of darkness. Well, that's very fitting here. The blind spots, skull of darkness. It's bringing me into that cyclical motion where there's pain. And I'm not trusting when another spirit's like reaching out to help. Like I'm right here. I want to be here as you're synergizing, you're healing, and you're actually breaking free of these for the light after the darkness. This isn't about a cure.
Dark.
This is simply understanding different shades of darkness if you're feeling lost. if you feel like you're wandering,
Bribe.
but in a circle. I'm going to move down.
Where are we?
We're in Canada right now. Take a breath, relax the shoulders. Enjoy the pauses as well as the...
Haunt.
Yeah, you might feel very haunted through your healing process, which I can relate to personally. So, but I almost want to say like the queen bee, even if that merges in more of like an owl for you, there are lights around you. These lights aren't cures. These lights are inspiration for your own illumination. So when you integrate whatever you decide to integrate to come out of certain cycles.
Basement.
Out of your basement. Out of your basement. That's the hiding. You might have a spirit in your basement. I know I have one in mind. But he's generally pretty cool. The stars on the bottom here supporting you. I'm going to keep wandering down here. There are, I want to say they're like guns. And they're up on, okay, they're up on towers. And they're, whether those are castle towers or, I can't remember the word, that's fine. But you know how in towns or villages, old or new, forgive me of the timeline, and there would be perches with people keeping an eye out, and they would generally be armed. This is what I'm seeing. And it's interesting. It feels like it's holding a rabbit hostage. Eight of Hazards. Yes. Something held captive in a container. Do not open.
Be careful.
You might have a secret. The spirit may have a secret. And when I say spirit, I'm not always meaning those existing in the astral or afterlife. It's also the spirit of the living. I try not to get too stuck on spirits being only those of the afterlife. So spirit could also be you. Me. Okay, so we're heading down here into the basement of this being. Let's go. I'm going to go because it's guarded. It's guarded by that perching thing. That's something about the rabbit of like swiftness and fertility is coming through. Swiftness and fertility, whatever it is that you want to create. Maybe that's healing, new job. You can apply it to whatever tangible or third eye realm. And then see how in here, so this is where I'm seeing like those guns on a perch. And then I'm like right in here now. See these?
Be careful.
They kind of look like skeletons that are, oh, I'm in the Game of Thrones. Be careful. Be careful. Okay, we're going to keep going. We're going to be mindful, but we're going to keep going because it's like they're sleeping.
Stay.
But the ice triggers them. Is that in Game of Thrones? I believe it is. Or maybe I'm just thinking about a part. Thank you. So I'm seeing a circle, that ice rink, and all those like zombie creatures or whatever they are in Game of Thrones of the Ice King. I can't remember the name, but if you know, you know. And the core group of living beings are stuck on this little island of ice, and it's very, very cold.
Be careful.
But there's all this frozen water, and right now it's serving them.
Hidden.
Something's going to wake them up. And it's almost like if you go there or heal something, someone could be worried that I'm going to wake up. Secrets, family secrets, hurts, and have to relive or rehash out some things. And other people are very protective over these, up to and including yourself. I want to note here that the King of Wands and the Queen of Cups came through. So this could be very much like a family secrets. The Seven of Cups. Everyone has their voice. Everyone has their opinion. I don't know if the lighting will let that come through. But it's like as I'm in it and I'm thinking about this, going into the symbolic basement of, maybe the lineage or this, that, or the other, my own healing, things I've done, regrets, etc. And it's going to bring up these, skeletons in the closets, if I may. Okay, there's 2 rabbit holes. Thank you. Back to the Father. The Father may be able to, more willing to help put it back together. Maybe. Because I'm not sure in that guardianship if it was the breadcrumbing or the nourishment. I feel like the Father was definitely a worker bee. I'm almost hearing like grandfather as well. Could be a grandfather energy. Okay, so it could be a father of your mother. Does that make sense? Father of your mother. Okay. Okay, we're going to carry on here. Yeah, deeper into the basement. I'm seeing... I'm going to show this to you in case you can relate to it. So I'm right here and I'm zooming out. See this? Like 2 eyes and the ears are down. I'm seeing a creature. I'm just not entirely sure. No, we're switching. Thank you. I kind of feel like I'm in Star Wars, like I'm watching one of those really weird creatures kind of wander about. And I don't mean weird in a bad way. I mean weird in a wonderful way. But the ears are down, and it's kind of like I'm feeling like I'm more in like my emotional pits of sorts. And I've got some sort of gas mask on or breathing apparatus. Because I'm in like a bubble with rubble around me, and I'm breathing here as like so much is on me, so much rubble is around me, and I've created a character to survive.
Finish.
Okay, getting ready to close out here, and we will revisit this scroll in the reverse another time to see what comes through from a new perspective. Spirit gauge. So landing through this very interesting story. I feel like somebody's trying to communicate with you. Possibly this grandfather in relation to your mother. And some sort of burdens that one has had to bear, Technomancer. There is healing going on, and if you feel like you're very, very nervous, there is. On your 5 of Engines, and this battle with that chicken in the ice rink from Family Guy.
Please.
There are a lot of parents here. A lot of guardians in different places and in different degrees of density, if I may. And I'm not trying to... And there's possibly even more. I'm not trying to force them to fit. They're just all around you in different places. Okay. But this healing from spirit, yours or in spirit, everyone's trying to gauge the different degrees to replenish the 7 cups of the main chakra system energy centers. And this feels reflective of that coming through. Sorry if that's like right from the basement of the being here to these skeletons, like maybe in the closet.
Hospital.
And then up here to where the guns were, there's the one portal coming up here to the guardians, to the little one, to the other, to the queen bee, the whole thing. It's like almost suddenly now seeing this as the basement to the divine of oneself.
Below.
If there is, yes, as above, so below. To density, different degrees of it in the energy centers. The high heart is being worked on. The high heart, I hear. Feet, nourish the high heart, nourish the high heart. Come into the solar plexus is the portal. When I'm hearing the words, it's almost like I can feel that solar plexus like a pool of life force. Buried, there's like a dog or some sort of, I'm going to say being, creature, protecting it. Oh, there's a face in there as well. It's being of service, but at the same time, I'm so protective because of what I've been through from a child, as a child, inner child now. And I'm an aware adult. And I'm even hearing somebody say, oh, the inner child, like it's always the inner child. And it's like, no, it's legitimately just part of the history. And reflecting back on how one was treated and how I can become the parent that maybe I wanted back then. Suspension tank. Somebody's hung up on something. Oh, I feel like something was like sacrificey. Maybe your family had to make lots of sacrifices, and being young, you just didn't understand the scope of these. It felt personal. But that interesting. So even as the hangman right below, and when I was in here and I had said down at the bottom, he felt like he was plugged into something, some sort of apparatus so he can still breathe. And if you're resonating with this scroll, this story, this spirit message, it's if you are working on that with not only the spirit of the souls here with you, those moved on, I'm going to flip it, and this can become the higher self, the enlightenment, and then it floods down. There is an air of be careful.
How do you feel?
Because there's something you may not know. Something you may not know while you're submerged in your subconscious, submerged in your perspective of this, of what's going on, what has gone on around you. So there's a preparation for forgiveness of oneself or another. Last card, and then we'll close out. Vampire, but the message here is emotional intelligence, intuitive intelligence as well. And that's beautiful as you're perhaps working through this or heeding the spirit message that, the intellect as an adult, the imagination as the inner child, and the intuition as the higher self, that human to higher self, and the healing in between. And it could be that inner child, however you want to place or pick that apart, but something is being unzipped, perhaps getting back to some roots or ancestry as well. There could be, I believe you're being fed by that ancestry. Okay. I'm going to let you go for now. I thank you so much for joining me, and I look really forward to revisiting this scroll and seeing what spirit messages come out. And until next time, thank you so much for being here.
Larry.
Links are below to help a gal grow. We have Larry coming through as well. You can donate to the channel. Simply like,
Closer.
share.
Medicine.
Thank you.